Meisters. How's everybody doing this evening on this Friday here in Indiana? Cold and wet and rainy. So how's everybody doing this evening? Let's see. We'll get some shout outs here. Marv will not be with us on the stream tonight. She'll be in the chat. She's not feeling well, so I'm going to have a co-host, Anthony Greeno, come up here in about 20 minutes. So let's go through the chat, see who we got in here, and say hello and see how everybody's doing. There's Miss D. How you doing, D? Connor Lyons. Nice to see you. Honeybee. TTM Fangirl. Rescue All Dogs. Boston Christian. See Marv. Yep, she's in there. Let's see. Crystal Dawn. Hey, Jill. Nice to see you. Olivia, too. Miss Thang. Nice to see you. What else we got? My Charlie. We got Coach Kev. What's going on, Coach? John France. Good to see you. Digital. Hello, Melissa. Trust and Justice. See that we're broadcasting live on Facebook right now. Nice to see you, Facebook user. Miss Purdue RN. Hope you're getting the feeling better. Mandy Ray. It looks like Shane Considine. Danger Dave. Nice to see everybody in here. How's everybody doing tonight? Like I said, Marv is not going to join us on the live tonight. She'll be just watching from the chat. She's not feeling good. So I invited Anthony Greeno to come and join me tonight. He'll be here in about 20 minutes. So just want to cover what we're going to cover today is the motion that was filed by the state in Miami County yesterday in regards to the renumbering of the charges on Kegan Kline and the amended charges also. And also I want to cover a missing persons out of Indianapolis real quick too. So another 14-year-old boy went missing 3 days ago, and I'll get that to you guys in a minute. Appreciate everybody coming out. We do have it on slow mode tonight, guys. So if you're watching and are not able to comment, got to wait about 20 minutes before you're able to comment once you subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Ruckus? I'll have you up here too, buddy. I'll put the link here in a few minutes when we start going over this these motions, because you are pretty well versed when it comes to that stuff, what this stuff means, and how to explain it also. If you don't mind coming up. Hey, Heather, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Gloria. Christy Lynn, nice to see you. Miracle Hearts, too, nice to see you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out and hanging out for a little while. Like I said, we got Queen of Assassin. Osacian, is that how you pronounce it? We got Stories from the Stone in here. Who else we got in here? Is that Kennedy Phillips? Nice to see you. Let's go back through here and see if we missed anybody. Let's see. And I-43 Pammy, good to see you. Mama T, nice to see you. Thanks once again. Thanks everybody for coming out and hanging out tonight. Robin, good to see you. Oh, there's more names coming in here than I realized. Let's see. Who did I just miss? I just saw Rose Scheid. Nice to see you. Let's see who else we got in here. Who is that? Bama Cat. Good to see you. Hi, Christy Dugway. Nice to see you. Hi, Susie. Hey, Randy, I'll have you up too if you want to come up here in a little while. I'm going to cover the motions that were filed yesterday with Anthony Greeno. But before we go to that, I'm going to cover a 14-year-old boy that's missing out of Indianapolis. It went missing 3 days ago, basically probably 20 minutes from where I live at, near the University of Indianapolis. So we're going to cover that for a couple minutes. Mike Baker, good to see you. True Crime Housewife, good to see you. Everybody popping in. Railroad Joe, good to see you, bud. So how everybody doing tonight? How's this Friday night going for everybody? I know y'all been talking about on Randy's channel about, it looks like Nick McClellan's trying to request more money from the county. So if we have time, we'll go over that after we cover the Kegan Kline motions, if we got time for that. So, all right. First thing I want to do, guys, is share my screen here and go over this case with this 14-year-old boy who went missing from Indianapolis 3 days ago. Give me just a second here. All right. Running slow, running slow. All right, where are you at? There we go. All right. I don't know why the picture didn't pop up, but we had the picture on our thumbnail, guys. This is in regards to 15-year-old boy in Indianapolis police asking for the public's help in locating a missing teenage boy. According to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, 14-year-old Jacob Blackford went missing on Tuesday, March 21st, was last seen in the 5200 east side, southeast side. Like I said, that's about 20 minutes for me. Southern Plaza area, Indianapolis, University of Indianapolis area. Okay, Blackford IMPD said was last seen wearing a white, long-sleeved Adidas shirt, dark sweatpants, and a red and white shoes. Described IMPD's a 5'6", 110-pound white male. Anybody with any information on Blackford's whereabouts is being asked to contact authorities. Call him 327 61 at 317-262-8477. Once again, if anybody knows any information or whereabouts for Jake or persons unit at 317-327-6160. Or if you want to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 317-267-TIPS. Once again, 317-262-8477. Too many kids disappearing here lately, guys. Come up missing. And we need to keep our eyes out on these kind of things that's going on. I live in the area, and so I would definitely keep my eyes open out here. Am I going in and out, Heather? Can you hear me? Give me a 1, guys, if you hear me well enough. Everybody hear me just fine? Yes, Coach Kev. The more eyes, the better. So to all my Indy peeps, Southside Indianapolis peeps, please keep an eye out for Jacob Blackford. If you see or know any information of his whereabouts, please contact the IMPD Missing Persons Office at 317-327-6160. Okay. let's go ahead. I'm going to put the StreamYard link in the chat box. Randy, if you want to come up. Ruckus, if you want to come up, there's a StreamYard. And we'll get into some discussions here. Waiting on Anthony Greeno also. Thank you, Heather. Much appreciated. Everybody responded to let me know they hear me just fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share the screen again, and we're going to go ahead and start going over there. So there's 29 pages of this motion, response, and the granted motion by the judge. Give me just a second, guys. Boy, I'm running slow today. Come on. There we go. There we go. All right. Can everybody see that fine? Do I need to enlarge it? Give me a 1 to enlarge, or if you guys see it just fine. All right. I guess everybody can see it just fine. I'm going to go ahead and start this off. It's a State of Indiana, County of Miami, State of Indiana versus Kegan Kline. Motion to reorder and renumber counts and amended charging information. Come now, the State of Indiana by Courtney B. Alwine, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, and respectfully request that the counts be reordered, renumbered, and pursuant to the Indiana Code 35-34-1-5. Request the court grant the state permission to amend the charging information filed in this cause of action, and in support thereof state as follows. Number 1, that on or about August 19th, 2020, the defendant was charged with 30 counts in the above state cause of action. On or about November 3rd, 2022, the state filed a motion to dismiss counts 4, 11, 15, 18, and 24. Let me write these down. So that's 4, 11, 15, 18, and 24. Okay. Number 3, a change of plea hearing is scheduled for March 30th, 2023 at 10 a.m. in which it is anticipated the defendant will plead guilty to all counts. Number 4, if the defendant does not plead guilty, a jury trial is scheduled to begin May 10th, 2023. Number 5, proceeding to jury trial with gaps in the charging information would be unfairly prejudicial to the state of Indiana. Number 6, the state is requesting to reorder the counts charged. A, the various child exploitation and child pornography counts are presently ordered in a manner that is confusing and disjointed. Give me a second. I'm going to put the StreamYard link in here again, Anthony. When you're ready to come up, just go ahead and I'll pull you up. What happened? There we go. What happened? All right. Let's get back to that. There we go. B. All right. There he is. Everybody, welcome Anthony Greeno to the panel.
What's going on? What's going on,
roll,
YouTube?
Buddy. There you go.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever the hell you're watching from. I'm Anthony Greeno from True Crime News. joining Frank tonight since Marvelous Marvin is feeling a little under the weather.
Okay, Anthony,
Yeah.
can you see the shared screen pretty good?
Yes.
Okay, I am at number 6, B or C. Okay.
I hear
C.
a lag.
Do you hear a lag?
Yeah, I can hear it doubled up in my thing. Hang on. I think I know what's going on. Hold on. Yeah, I got YouTube pulled up. It's gone.
Okay. So
We're
we're at C. If the defendant pleads guilty to all counts on March 30th, 2023, reordering the counts in this manner would aid the court, the state, and the defendant in determining which counts can be consecutive or should be concurrent. We were talking about that the other night. I think it all needs to be run concurrent. Right.
Now, concurrent is together. Consecutive is back to back.
Okay. Well, I think consecutive would be the best option here.
Yeah, I agree.
Number
Gives you
7.
more time.
The state is requesting to also renumber the identifiers and the information. Number A, the charging information for counts 1, 7, 12, 20, 21, 22, 25, 28, and 29 references juveniles 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, what I was saying earlier is the charges they dropped, Anthony, were counts 4, 11, 15, 18, and 24.
Okay, I'm going to look him up on my case and see exactly what counts those were.
I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be the ones where they couldn't prove that they were minors in the photos, or the parents was not willing to testify. One of the two.
Yeah, I could see something like that.
Right. And number 2 under 7, Indiana Code 35-40-5-12, designation of certain victims in public documents reads in part, the following shall be identified by means of a designation omitting the victim's name, such as victim 1, in court documents open to the public. Victim 1, a victim of a sex crime under Indiana Code 35-42-4. According to the state, is requesting to rename these identifiers as victim 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. In preparing this matter for trial, the state has identified a number of Scrivener errors that the state requests leave to amend. Those amendments are described as the following. A, count 1, formally amended count 29, rephrased the charge to the underline says that between April 1st, 2016 and September 21st of 2016 in Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan A. Kline being at least 18 years of age, to wit, 20 years of age, did knowingly or intentionally solicit victims, 1, a child under the age of 14, to wit, 13, to engage in sexual intercourse and or to engage in other sexual conduct as defined in Indiana Code 35-35.5-2-22-221.5, and or to engage in fondling or touching and intending to arouse or satisfy the sexual desires of either victim 1 or Kegan A. Kline. Contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made and provided by Indiana Code 35-42-4-6B, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Part B, count 4, formally amended count 12, amended 3839 to 3893. Count 5, formally amended count 20, add the phrase, a child under the age of 18.
Okay, so they're basically rewording it. They're redefining some of the charges. Is what it appears to be.
Yeah.
They're just renaming them and readjusting them based on each individual case. I mean, it's fair to say at the beginning they probably didn't put a lot of time and effort into that. They probably just said, you know what, charge him with all these counts of child pornography and all these counts of child solicitation. And now they're kind of go back and be like, okay, wait a minute. That's kind of like just broadening, it's too wide of a scope. We need to broaden it down into what the charge actually is and what actually happened during that specific crime itself.
Exactly. Number 9, that on March 22nd, 2023, counsel for the defendant met with the state and had an opportunity to review the proposed amendment charging information prior to the state filing this motion. Defense counsel had no objections to this motion. 10, a copy of the proposed changing information with all amendments is attached to this motion. See State's Exhibit 1, which we already seen that. Wherefore, the state of Indiana respectfully requests the court grant the motion to reorder and renumber counts and amend the charging information in accordance with State Exhibit 1 and for all other just and proper reliefs in the premises. Signed and dated by Courtney Alwine, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. That's just the motion that was filed. Now, here's the state's response to that. I don't know why it's the same person. It makes no sense. All right.
Yeah.
Count 1. The underline says that between April 1st, 2016, that's basically what we just read. Yep. Let's see.
Yeah, that's basically just a charging information right there. It's a charging document.
Okay.
It says that he committed those crimes.
We already read that one. Okay. Let's go to count 2. The undersigned says that on April. Go ahead. Did you say something?
No, I was just going to say that's a level 5 felony. So level 5 felony, keep in mind, everybody, each level 5 felony carries 1 to 6 years in prison, and the presumptive of that is 3 years. That's what they would recommend that you get is 3 on the 5.
Right.
Now, you only serve 75% of your time if it's a level 5. If it's a level 6 felony, you serve 50% of your time.
Right. Right. The undersigned says that on or about April 30th, 2016 in Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan A. Kline did knowingly or intentionally disseminate and or exhibit to another and or offer to disseminate or exhibit to another, to wit, kick, chat, using person. 3, a matter to wit, additional file identified as IMG 3630 and or 3F6A 4E98 D334 40C7 9E15 BFE 2FC 4DE 864 that depicts or describes sexual conduct by victim 2, a child under the age of 18, the sexual conduct being described in exhibition, uncovered genitals and or exhibits of the female breast with less than a fully what is that word? Opique covering of any part of the nipple by victim 2. This is intended to satisfy or arouse the sexual desires of any person. Contrary to the form of statutes in such cases made and provided by Indiana Code 35-4-42-4-4B, Part 2, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana, I affirmly, under the penalties of perjury, that the foregoing representations are true to be the best of knowledge and belief. Undersigned, Courtney Alwine, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. They had a witness list, but they didn't give us the witness list. We already know the witness list. Count 3. The undersigned says that on or about May 2nd, 2016 in Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan Kline, with the intent to satisfy or arouse the sexual desires of any person, did knowingly or intentionally disseminate to another and or offer a disseminate or exhibit to another, to wit, kick, messenger, chat user. We're not going to go through the usernames and all that. That
right,
depicts
it's a lot.
exhibits of a female breast with less than a fully opaque covering of any part of the nipple by victim 3. A child under the age of 18, contrary to the form of the statute in such cases made by Indiana Code 354244B, number 4, Part B, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Once again, undersigned by the Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Courtney Alwine. Count 4. The undersigned says on or about May 14th, 2016 in Marion County or Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan A. Kline, with the intent to satisfy or arouse the sexual desires of any person, did knowingly or intentionally disseminate to another or exhibit to another or offer a disseminant or exhibit to another, to wit, kick messenger chat. User person 1. Matter to wit, a digital file was created. We don't need to read that. That depicts exhibition of the female breast with less than a fully opaque covering of any part of the nipple by victim 3. A child under the age of 18, contrary to the form of the statute of the state of Indiana, Indiana Code 35-42-4-4, Part B, number 4, Part B, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Count 5. The undersigned says that on or about May 14th, 2016, Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan A. Kline did knowingly or intentionally disseminate or exhibit to another and or offer to disseminate or exhibit to another, to wit, another kit messenger, that depicts sexual conduct between being described as fondling of erect penis by victim 4. A child under the age of 18, contrary to the form of the state of Indiana statutes 35-42-4-4, Part B, number 2, against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Count 6. The undersigned says that on May 14th, 2016, Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan A. Kline did knowingly or intentionally disseminate and or exhibit to another and or offer to disseminate or exhibit to another kit messenger chat, persons 1. Matter that depicts or describes sexual conduct by victim 5. A child under the age of 18, the sexual conduct being described as sexual intercourse and or penetration of the anus of victim 5. Contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made and provided by Indiana Code 35-42-4-4, Part B, number 2, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Count 7. The undersigned says that on May 14th, 2016, Miami County, state of Indiana, Kegan A. Kline did knowingly or intentionally disseminate and or exhibit to another and or offer to disseminate or exhibit to another, KitKat messenger user person 1, a digital video with a file number, we don't need to read that depicts or describes sexual conduct by victim 6, a child under the age of 18, the sexual conduct being described as sexual intercourse and or penetration of the anus of victim number 6, contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made provided against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Man, this is one sick dude, man, reading this.
Me about it, dude. I'm sitting here listening to you read that, and I'm like, man, you know what? I thought Daniel Nations was a really bad guy, but after like looking at this, and when I pulled up his charging information, it's like, holy cow, dude! It's like, it's so long, and there's such high charges and horrible charges.
Right. Count 8. The undersigned says that on about May 17, 2017, Kegan Kline, with the intent to satisfy or arouse the sexual desires of any person, did knowingly or intentionally disseminate and or to exhibit to another and or offer to disseminate or exhibit to another through kit messenger, persons 1, that depicts exhibits of the female breast with less than a fully opaque covering of any part of the nipple by victim 7, a child under the age of 18. Count 9. Let's see, we don't have to read all this, but basically he's using, this is all a lot of the kit messenger, and this is what he was doing a lot of his business on. And this was for victim 1.
A lot of it's the same, it's just different people.
Yeah. That depicts or describes sexual conduct by victim 8, a child under the age of 18. The sexual conduct being described as fondling or touching of a child by another person or of another person by a child intended to arouse or satisfy the sexual desires of either the child or the other person, and or sexual intercourse and or penetration of the anus of victim number 8.
You see what that means is he was watching someone else do it.
Yeah. Basically, child pornography was what he was watching.
Yeah. Yep.
Count 10. We don't need to read. Oh, this was February 25th, 2017, on an Apple iPhone 4. Kegan Kline did knowingly or intentionally possess a digitized image, to wit, a digital file identified through. It doesn't tell us his iPhone, but it doesn't tell what app it was. That depicts or describes sexual conduct by a child who appears to be less than 18 years of age, and that lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value, and the child who is depicted or described as less than 12 years of age. Wow. But it didn't give you the...
That's really weirdly worded if you think about that. To be less than 18 years of age and that lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. You know what I mean? Like, that's a really weird wording for that.
Yeah,
like,
that doesn't make a little sense. Why would it be political?
Basically just saying a young child that doesn't know better.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. See, count 11. February 25th, 2017, on his Apple iPhone 4. Kegan Kline did knowingly or intentionally possess a motion picture and or a digitized image, to wit, a digital file identified that depicts or describes sexual conduct by a child who appears to be less than 18 years of age and that lacks serious mental capacity, is basically what they're saying. Literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. And the child who is depicted or described as less than 12 years of age, so they're not given anything on the minors. So basically just saying he's February 25th for count 12, same year, Apple iPhone 4, Kegan Kline did knowingly or intentionally possess a motion picture or a digitized image through his phone file identify, we don't need to go through that depicts or describes sexual conduct by a child who appears to be less than 18 years of age and that lacks basically the maturity or brain development, is what they're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
Another child a child under 18. Count 13. Let's see. It looks like we're getting into the minor stuff. They're basically all the same here. Go to count 14.
Yeah, because there's a lot. There's what, 30?
29 pages. Oh, he's going to have 22 charges. So 5 were dropped, and I don't know how many. So there's going to be 27.
Man, so this is a lot. And so it's alleging on these dates here.
Yeah,
so on these different dates, it's saying, right?
Yeah, on these different dates.
I haven't been keeping track. So how many days have we covered so far? Like, has anybody kept track?
I would say 4 so far.
Only 4 days, and he's racked up this many charges?
Yeah. It looks like, everything's from February and April and March.
Of 2017?
Yep. And we had a couple from 2016 also.
Right.
Here we go.
And
Here's
so
one
they're
from
just
July.
assuming that this guy didn't do this after that. You know what I mean? Like after they let him walk for 3 years, they're just assuming that he didn't do this, because I'm pretty
Right.
sure that he probably did this again a lot more
Now
times.
here's one from July of 2016. Kegan Anthony Kline did knowingly or intentionally obtain, possess, transfer, or use synthetic identity information with intent to profess to be Anthony Schatz, contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made and provided by Indiana Code 35-43-5-3.8, Section A, which is basically saying he was stealing somebody's identity. Count 22, May of 2016. Kegan A. Kline did knowingly or intentionally obtain, possess, transfer, or use synthetic identifying information with intent to profess to be Emily Ann 45. Oh, there's more than that. Damn, there's count 23. Let's
Jeez
see.
almighty.
Yeah. February 25th, 2017, Kegan A. Kline did alter or remove the Snapchat application or the digital information associated with the Snapchat application from an Apple iPhone 5C with the intent to prevent said item or items from being produced or used as evidence in an official investigation. Count 24. Let's see. Kegan Anthony Kline from February 25th of 2017 did alter or remove the Instagram application or the digital information associated with Instagram application for an Apple iPhone 5C with the intent to prevent said item or items from being produced or used as evidence in official investigation. Count 25. Let's see. On February 26th, 2017, Kegan A. Kline did alter or remove the Meet Me application on or the digital information associated with the Meet Me application from an Apple iPhone 5C with the intent to prevent said item or items from being produced or used as evidence in an official investigation. And that's the last page. And everything's undersigned by the Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, Courtney Atwine. Let's go back. So we had a bunch of February of 2017, a couple of 2016. Let me get all the way back up here.
Yeah.
This dude's sick.
Okay, so they basically they didn't give him anything after that, and they're just assuming that he did not do it anymore. And I'm not going for that at all. Not one piece.
I think the 5 charges might be. I'm just assuming right now at this point are the counts after 2017. Who's doing that?
Okay, gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Who's doing what?
Somebody. It looked like somebody was scrolling, and I forgot to click. All right, so much for that. Let's get out of this share here, and we will have a discussion on this.
Okay,
all right,
so
guys, there we are.
I am like totally. Man, it's upsetting that they knew all this way back then and they didn't do anything about it, and it took so long, you know. And then they started grilling him about the Delphi case 3 years later again. It's like you could really tell that their investigation was screwed up because they didn't know where to turn. They're like, well, let's just go back to this dude.
Right. And I mean, the way I'm seeing it, man, it's almost like they let him out just to follow him around to collect more data. Who else they could snatch up at the same time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know. So I was looking up the his charges and stuff like that, and then I was looking up a video I posted where I screwed up the editing on it, and cut it off like way too early or whatever. And actually, I'd been looking for that video and didn't realize that is the one that I had uploaded. It was by mistake, but it was the one talking about, you know, when he was on the run for 3 years, you know, at that time period of what was going on at that time, where we had all this information come out in like 1 week, and then it's all like, well, wait a minute, man, how could they knew all this stuff way back then and they didn't do anything, and here we are looking at all this stuff. I mean, I was really convinced at that moment that the Delphi case was getting ready to be solved. I thought, and I think a lot of other people did too. I mean, there was people coming from all over the states here to Indiana, to Delphi, preparing for like charges to be announced on somebody.
It almost sounds like they used him as an informant or something in that nature, and we just didn't know about it. Even though we can't get any documents proving that. I mean, that's just the way it seemed to me. And then as soon as they arrested him, then all of a sudden, as soon as they arrest him and announced the Anthony Shots account through that PSA, everybody was being arrested. So,
yeah, but I don't think. No, go ahead.
Go ahead, bud.
No, I was going to say, man, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Now, there was some conversation in the chat box a little bit ago about, what is going to happen with his sentencing. People are maybe assuming that because he's pleading guilty that he may get a lesser penalty, but there's not according to what we've seen, there's not an agreement between the prosecutor and the defense. So there's no plea agreement on the table. So if he does plead guilty, then he's probably pleading open guilty plea, which means that it's up to the judge to decide what to do. And since there's multiple, yeah,
right, she'll determine if she wants to take it to trial, or if it's brought up that the state and the defense is working on possible plea agreement, they'll bring it up to the judge, and the judge will set it out for another hearing to see where they're at as far as possible plea agreement or whatever. It's just time will tell.
They'll probably do a pre-sentence investigation on him, where the probation department will interview him and go over his lifestyle and him and his family and everything about him, and basically make a recommendation to the court on what they think should be the appropriate sentence according to the charges and all the information provided. And, usually the judge will roll with that, the probation department's recommendation.
Right. Indy Pam, from what we just read, we didn't find anything after February 25th of 2017 as in the charging information. Nothing. So that was telling us, we was like, what the hell's going on here? Because you had to have been doing the same shit, excuse my French, the same stuff when they released him back in 2017. I mean, if he's hooked on that kind of stuff that he was doing, there was no way he wasn't doing something.
Exactly. He was doing it. He was totally doing it, and I believe he was doing it. I don't think he could stop. I don't think someone like that. He's got a sickness, okay. And when he gets into his role or whatever he's doing, he's stuck. I mean, that's just what he does. Days at a time, we've heard he's been locked into a room, just looking this kind of stuff up on the internet. So that's all he thinks about.
What's your take on Danger Dave here? KK won't be testifying in the Delphi case. What do you think?
I don't know if he will or not. It depends if he's connected to Richard Allen. I guess we don't know that part yet. It's a possibility. It's also not a possibility. I mean, if the defense wants to pull him up and say, you know what, man, they were grilling this guy and said that he knew who the murderer was, and my client don't know him. Or if they can prove that they do know each other, then I guess that's going to be, a big issue for both of them. But I don't know if he's going to testify or not. It all depends on what that search in the Wabash was for.
Exactly. Connor Lyons said a law should be passed that says it's okay to put rapists to death, but not just killers. I can tell you right now, there are states. I know one state already that has passed a law for pedophiles, chemical castration. They've already passed that law in Alabama. So I think a lot of states are. Go ahead.
I said that sounds lovely, doesn't it?
Oh,
castration.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's basically just all they do is chemically castrate you is all they do, so you can't get an erection and things in that nature to where you can't satisfy or whatever is the way I'm taking it.
Right.
If they could bring Delphi stuff up with KK, when would they do it and raise more reasonable doubt? Me and Anthony have been talking, Ruckus have been talking. The way we're looking at this right now is each side is sitting back waiting to see what the other side does. Each case does. Because as you can see with Richard Allen, they moved his bond hearing all the way out to June. I understand Judge Gold made it clear when I went to the PCA hearing that her trial calendar was booked with murder cases, okay? But then again, why would move it all the way out to June? To me, that sounds like they're keeping an eye on the Kegan Kline case. Because if you think about it, all the other hearings are have been based around the other case. One continues, then within a week or so, the next one continues, and I'm like, there's got to be something to this. You see what I'm saying?
Everything is happening. Everything is happening together. It almost seems like, okay, Richard Allen gets arrested, Kline gets some charges dismissed. You know, people say it's not connected. It may not be connected. It may not. You know, but it may be, and they're just not telling us because they're keeping it secret. You know, that he searches the Wabash, Richard Allen's arrested. It's just so weird how things are tied in. So something's got to be connected somewhere. There's a lot of missing holes that we're missing out on. And one day I think it's going to come together within the next few months. I think we're going to start figuring it out.
So it's what do we got here? Melissa, so he never saw any of these girls, just stalked him on phones. That's what it sounds like to me. That it was all by phone. It was never in person.
Yeah, I've never seen anything in person where he's met anybody. I've not heard it from anybody either. That he's actually met with somebody. We could probably assume that he may have tried, or maybe not. I mean, he may be one of those people. I watched that show Catfish. He may be one of those people that just never comes out and says who he is. You know, it appears that he probably never would have, really.
Well, I do recall in the Kegan Kline transcripts where there was there was a statement in there. He was supposed to meet some girl at the park, and she brought her friend with her, and he allegedly told the girl, since you brought a friend with you, I should just slit your throat. Yeah, it's in the Kegan transcripts. Yes. So I was
that doesn't make him look too guilty, does it?
No. Let's see what Honeybee's got to say. If you have that's talking to Marv. Honestly, I don't think Kegan Kline is the top dog when it comes to this Anthony Shots account. I think he was working for somebody else. That's my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah. There's always a bigger fish. You're not going to tell me that Kegan Kline is the main guy of Indiana with all this pedophile crap going on. They're answering to some other people. They have to be.
It is weird. It is weird that he of all people has like a lot of stuff going on with that. Right. You know, and it's like, who's he connected to? Who's he talked to? Who else is into that kind of stuff around that area?
And then again, it makes me wonder. And then again, it makes me wonder about the Vegas trip. Who was he down there selling, allegedly trying to buy drugs or whatever? But a lot of us are thinking of something different. If the crime was actually videotaped, pictures or whatever, and he went down there to sell this stuff. And that's where I keep going back to Ian Kendall, the retired county sheriff that's living down there. He was good friends with Kegan and his dad. So just a lot of things, a lot of pieces are still missing that we need to try to get together and put together.
And it's such an odd thing to put together because it's so scattered between multiple people, you know, kind of.
Well, just like Doug Carter said, there's a lot of tentacles to this case.
Yeah, there is a lot, you know, and a lot of secondary investigations. Exactly. There's been a lot of arrests because of this case. You know, there's been cold case arrests, murders, the child porn thing, a whole bunch of different stuff. People arrested for all sorts of things just because of this.
Right. Honeybee, I would have to agree at the beginning all the way up to about 2019. I believe that they bundled it from there to 2019. And when they had the presser in 2019, I think it's like Doug Carter said, they were going in a different direction and they were starting to pick up on stuff and starting to realize what was really going on. And thank you, Hybrid, for becoming a new member. Thank you. Let's see. KK was the catalyst for this, in my own opinion. Like we said, we don't know if he was the top dog or what he was, or if he was just another person doing the dirty work for somebody else, and at the same time getting his enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. What a weirdo, I tell you that. It's such
I do believe Kegan did rat on somebody, according to Olivia here. I believe it also. That's just my opinion.
So? You think he ratted someone out?
Yeah, I think he did. I mean, because think about it. When they arrested him, and then 2 years later, or a year and a half later, they had that PSA with the Public Information Office from ISP do that little clip. If anybody knows about the Anthony Shots count or had any contact with them, that's when a lot of the dominoes started falling with people being arrested for pedophilia or anything in that nature. A lot of
people start tipping in all the weird stuff that they've gotten, and now they're going and checking all these people, and they're catching them all.
Well, then think about this. They just arrested a Frankfurt teacher. I believe it was a Frankfurt teacher yesterday for child pornography out of Miami County. So I was like, man, yeah. I posted it on our Facebook group and stuff in that nature. So they would have never solved this case if ISP hadn't stepped in after the WRS.
After the what now?
WRS. I don't know what that is.
I'm not sure exactly what that part means either. Could you explain that a little bit, maybe?
Danger Dave, what do you mean by that? If you can explain yourself, please.
It's probably just a typo.
The judge in the case is Fran Gull out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Allen County.
Allen County, yep. She's one of the judges that participated in the
camera thing.
trial. The trial, for the cameras, to allow cameras inside the courtroom. She's one of the judges that was actually on that.
She's on that committee. She's on that committee, I believe.
Yeah, she totally, I think, is on board for like having that kind of a law. Now, whether she would introduce that law and say, yeah, we could go ahead and incorporate that into the Delphi case. I mean, it's such a high-profile case. Why not? It seems like that would be the perfect case for it to start with in Indiana.
The only problem I have with that, you've been inside Carroll County courtroom. I've been inside the Carroll County courtroom. Where are they going to fit all these people?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be a lot. And they're going to have to cram all the way in the back behind the pews and they're just going to have to stand up pretty much. I mean, the circuit courtroom is bigger than the Superior, but it's not that big.
It only holds 62 seats. And we were lucky to get a seat. I mean, we got there early enough for the PCA hearing. We got there at like 7:30 in the morning and stood in line for an hour and a half. And we were right there at the door. So, and we plan to do the same thing for the bond hearing.
Okay. I plan on being there, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I will be there at that bond hearing, and we will be filming stuff.
If the judge allows it, because she makes the final decision on that.
You're right. Dave, now, if she doesn't allow it, you can arrest at that courtroom.
I'm still going to be in there. I'll be taking notes.
No, I'll be in there, but I'm going to step out and do it too. Yeah, I want to hear what's going on too. I can't miss a piece of this.
I want to hear what Nick McClellan's going to have to say, what evidence he's going to give us to why Richard Allen doesn't deserve a bond. He's got to give us something. You can't just go by the PCA. Marv's in.
Exactly, because we watched that happen with Ashley Garth.
Right.
I was live for that
one. Your YouTube on. He's got to give us something. You can't just go by the PCA.
I don't have YouTube on. We watched that happen with Ashley Garth.
Right.
I'm not sure what.
Marv, you got your YouTube up. You there?
No, on my end. Yeah, I'm here.
It was Marv.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she backed out. Okay, Dave. KK doesn't have a choice at this point. He knows he can't win this case. Yeah, I 100% agree on that, Danger Dave. All right, Melissa. Kline does the
Dangerous
work, gets girls to talk as Anthony shots, reels girls in, then others rape a murder and murder them might be connected to Evansdale. Honestly, from several other creators, and I've looked into a little bit of the Evansdale case myself. I don't see a connection with Evansdale. Ruckus.
No, I don't
Anthony
either.
Greeno. If
I don't
you've
either.
never met Ruckus Anthony Greeno.
What's going on? Am I live?
Yes, you
Ruckus.
are, sir. Just keep it down. Keep it down on the
You
tongue
are
tonight,
live, buddy.
Ruckus.
All right, man. Okay.
This is he's a former police officer out of Florida, and I see if he wanted to come up because he's got more insight when it comes to charges and things of that nature, and he can explain these things better to us. So, Ruckus, what was your take on looking over those motions today?
Well, to me, it's all posturing for the deal. You know that's been coming for a long time. If you look at it, his charges don't just go back to when he got arrested in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They nailed him with CSAM in February of 2017. One picture is enough to put him in jail. Right?
Yep.
They should have took him to jail. Now we don't know if they left him out so they could follow him. I'm leaning more towards they took his accounts and they were working them. Law enforcement was acting like him. That's why they didn't put him actually physically in jail because all the bad guys would know it's not him. The ones
That
that know who he was.
that sounds
That's a
about
good
legit.
point.
Yeah, it
Mm.
does. It does.
Yeah, and they may have been, watching him too at the same time. But I have seen, just so I don't want anybody to have any hopes and dreams that he's going to plead guilty and get 68 years. That's what he was looking at. If they go with the middle of the road, because they have what he could get and what they suggest that he gets. He's looking at about 68 years. He was never going to get that. He's a first-time offender. I've
Yeah.
seen people 3-time offenders get time served, probation, and have to register as an SO.
It's like I was talking to Anthony about this today. There's a guy in Boone County, which is where Garrett Kurtz was from, Lebanon, Indiana. He was a band teacher. He got arrested for a solicitation of a minor and got a slapped on the wrist and got probation out of it.
Yeah, it's
I
it's
was like,
sad but true, man.
yeah,
And I've seen it firsthand many times. These assholes walk.
hybrid twice.
Yeah, and that bothers me a lot too. I mean, when you see people like that getting less time than other people, that's sickening, really. It's like, okay, that person actually deserves some like real time here. Like this person is like molesting children and raping people and stuff like that, and no one seems to like understand that that's very, very, very serious, and that person needs to spend the rest of their life in jail because they're not going to change that aspect of their life.
Well, the way they're looking at it is he's not he's not a sex offender in an SO. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to even say that. In the true sense of the word, he's not out there attacking women and stuff like that. He's just a creepy ass pervert getting
Yeah.
these young girls to send him pictures, stuff that he can go online and get anyway. But he gets more of a thrill in the hunt, grooming these girls to get this stuff. Now, if he's disseminating it and selling it, well, then that bumps it up a whole bunch, and that's what they're saying he was doing. So,
Yeah.
still, I would not be shocked, not one little bit. Nobody should be shocked if he gets time served after pleading guilty.
What's really surprising to me is that they haven't mentioned anything about the money exchange allegedly between him and Libby. And they haven't mentioned anything about the Dropbox because people were making payments down in that Dropbox, or he was sending money to people through the Dropbox. I can't believe none of that's been brought up yet.
I haven't.
Did he pay her for photos?
The speculation was that there was money exchange, but we just don't have any proof of it.
Okay, so that wasn't mentioned in any transcript or anything like that.
No,
Okay.
It was just word going around.
Yes, I
Okay.
don't even consider it. If it's not mentioned by law enforcement or put out there, it could happen, Frank. You and I both know they're keeping things from us,
Oh
and
yeah,
and some things get leaked out. I mean, look at you. You're the man when it comes to getting paperwork and stuff. You get stuff that nobody else can. So maybe somebody did get some inside information, but until I hear it out of law enforcement, with so much bullshit going around, I've just shut down to it. If law enforcement doesn't say it happened to me, it didn't happen. You know,
right.
I'm not going to base any of my beliefs on it.
Ford Pitbull said, if he had the balls to hold out till his third plea, he has been offered it. It will be his best one. It's all a game. Yeah, it basically boils down to it's a game between the prosecutor and the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he means, the longer you sit in jail and you keep putting shit off that you can legally do, the prosecutor would be done with it because it's costing them money.
Oh yeah,
So they'll keep making better and better deals. So what he's basically saying is if you can hold out for the third deal, you're better off. But most people just want to get out of jail. You know, I used to tell the young guys when I was cutting them loose if they got probation, dude, don't take it. Stay in jail
Yeah.
for a
Same.
year because you're going to be back. And if you do 11 months, 29 days clean and then you get violated, none of that shit counts.
no,
Just
no,
No, they can
you're
give it all back to you.
you're a young dude. There's no way you're going to stay away from women and booze and drugs. Just stay here and get your shit done, dude. And they never listen. And, a couple months later, I see him again. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Yep.
Well, actually, he does. Pitbull. He doesn't have 4 years good time because he's only been in since August of 2020. So it'll be 3 years this August.
So he would have
So
been to what 2.5 years a good time, really. If it's counting, it really depends because if you're counting on the level fives, he's serving 75% of his time, so he actually doesn't get half of that. If he's on the level sixes, he gets 50% of that time. So if we say on the level sixes, he's been in jail 2.5 years, then he gets 2.5 years credit as well.
yeah. So
So
one
it
for
would
one
count
is
3 years in
basically
his
what they
twos.
do in Indiana. They do one for
Yeah,
one.
but the level five is not. The level five is not. It's 1 for 3.
Okay. So they've changed the law.
Yeah, the
Yes,
average is about
2012.
30 days gain time per month, average. But he's
Yeah,
not getting any of that right now. You don't get that until you're actually convicted. Right now, he's not
correct.
gaining any gain time. He's not getting anything, zero. So
And
that's
he
why
may
they hold
actually
that
qualify.
against him.
You're right. He may actually qualify as a credit restricted felon too. So sex offenders, some sex cases, if the victim is a certain age, they can be a credit restricted felon. And that means that they don't receive any kind of good time whatsoever. Or if they do, it's like 1 day for every 6 days. And that's a credit restricted felon. They changed it up. It's a lot. There's a lot of different classes of credit class now. And that is
Hmm.
one of them. But I'm not sure exactly what would classify under that.
Well, not only that, too, that's just good time. That's for behaving yourself. If you have a job, you can get more gain
Yeah.
time as well.
You know what's so bothering to me? We all know that he's got a chirp device and he's able to FaceTime people through that chip device. And from my understanding, that he was still doing the same thing while he was in there.
He was. He was.
And how are they allowing that shit? Excuse my French. That shit to happen like that?
That's not French,
Wait, he was
Frank.
marrying young girls from in there?
Yeah, he was doing the same thing in there.
He was sexting with people.
Sexting.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it was
Oh,
minors, but
well,
how was he
it's
getting
also
away
on
with
the
that?
people that were okay. So the people that were writing him and encouraging that probably shouldn't have done that.
yeah. I mean, he's never going to change. He needs help. It's a sickness. I've seen it a million times. If he doesn't get help, he's not going to change. He's going to keep doing it. He can't
So,
control it.
so what's
Yeah,
your take on TK?
He's
What's your
involved. There's no doubt. There's no way he's not involved in my eyes.
right?
in
Um,
Delphi or the child thing.
but both, both.
Okay,
Um, to me, there's no way that he's not involved. He's definitely involved with the CSAM stuff. Definitely, he knew what was going on in his own house, and he was the other guy using the other, logging in at the same time. There's no, it couldn't have been anybody else, according to Kegan. So, Kegan, this whole thing, both of these cases tie in together, and Kegan is the linchpin in this whole thing. they've been putting pressure on him for a couple years now, trying to get information. I think he's just been leery about snitching out his dad, to be honest with you. Well, then they throw old dad on the witness list,
And
and
then all of
a sudden he wants to start singing.
and friend one was even on the friends list.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too that there's two things that could have happened. Is TK could have sold Kegan up the river, or he could have implicated himself. So what's he gonna do? Keegan's probably like, he's gonna sell me up the river.
And that's basically what he's done so far, from my understanding. He ain't went and seen Kegan. He hasn't been putting money on his books or anything. So,
Right.
and what's that's so fishy to me also is that when they got back from Vegas, he allegedly found an iPhone 5 and took it to the police station and said, "Oh, I forgot to turn this in." It makes me wonder if his dad had it the whole time while he was in Vegas. And and he comes back home and finds it sitting on the microwave or something of that nature. And I'm like, okay, somebody else in that house has had access to that phone, not just Kegan.
Well, you know what? They would be able to narrow that down real quick. If he was gone and that phone was being used inside that house, they would know.
Yeah, they know a lot more than they're telling us as well,
Yeah.
digitally. But and this is not me saying I don't know anything about TK. I don't. This is not me judging him as a man or a person. This is me looking at the totality of these circumstances, what makes sense in my experience, what do I think happened. And to me, it's cut and dry. I mean, it's right there. It's right there under your nose. He's involved, and I'm almost positive that TT's involved too, because it was his house where Kegan logged on to that Wi-Fi, or Anthony Shots, whoever was logging on to Anthony Shots, in front of his damn house the day of the murder.
His own cousin's house at that.
Yeah, yeah. So don't tell me that cat doesn't know what's going on either. Give me a break.
Right.
Give me a break, man. So, in the business, we call that kind of shit a clue. That's a clue. So they all add up. And when it adds up, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck, man.
Let's see here. Miss Thanks says, in the current America, KK will be labeled as a minor attracted person and let out with an ankle bracelet. Now, I would have to disagree with that. With 25 CSAM charges pending against you, I don't see him getting out like that. He's going to do some prison time. He's going to do some prison time.
He's going to be banned from the internet.
Yeah, see, I don't agree there, Frank. I think he's going to walk.
I think he's going to get about 7 years. That's my guess.
I would say 10 and do 5.
He should get 68 is what he should get.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I've seen worse. I've seen worse walk on probation. And now they may come back on probation violation, but I've seen him walk on probation, house arrest, and they have to register. That's it. It's all about money. Probation, they got to pay for their probation. That's what the state wants, money.
It's a setup for failure, basically what it is.
Yeah, well, it doesn't cost them money to house him in his own house.
Right.
Yeah, he's paying for it. He's got to pay for that. So
yeah,
they chemically castrate dogs by injecting the testes with sclerosis agents to negate. I guess she was trying to say sperm and testosterone production. Well, like I said, they've already passed a law in Alabama for pedophiles. Chemical castration is the punishment.
Well, the wheels.
Look, and so this person, go ahead, buddy.
The wheels are turning now, so shit's going to start happening pretty quick. You watch RA's camp. Nothing may not happen until that bond hearing, but it just may. You guys have seen me using the term ITTT. That means if this, then that. So the ISP is involved with both of these cases. So they're talking to both defense teams. And if Kegan does this, then we'll do that. If RA does this, Kegan says, well, then I'll do that. So that they can get them two together and testify against the other parties involved to corroborate the evidence they found in the Waybosh and in the RA search warrant at his house. They found something.
Gloria Bowen says, I do believe there are many other connected to this predator's ring. Oh, of course. I mean, you're probably talking from each corner of the country, there's thousands in each state. But Indiana is the main one they're looking at right now.
Yeah, it just so happens the public eye's on Indiana right now. It'll switch. It's like I used to tell everybody that worked for me, look, you messed up. Keep your mouth shut. Somebody will mess up soon, and your name will be out of everybody's mouth. Indiana's just got to lay low for a while.
Right.
Then it's on Idaho.
Miracle Hearts 2. ISP came to my daughter's criminology class at IU a week ago. 2 sergeants that work on the case said there is definitely way more than they can say, and that a lot was going on right now, actually. Good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Digital says it's all connected by evil. My question is, did KK know how evil some people he was dealing with were? Well, if he dealt with his dad all those years, being abused, mentally abused, and watching his dad abuse his mother or stepmother or his stepbrother and stepsister, of course he's been around the evil.
You know, a lot of people are saying that, KK is smarter than people think he is. He's a lot smarter than people think he is. I'm here to tell you, that cat's got the IQ of a retarded clam. He's getting some good lawyering is what he's getting. He's getting great advice from his attorneys. Other than that, he's dumb as a box of rocks, man.
And you know what's so bad about that is public defenders in the state of Indiana, they make a salary. They get a set base pay, man, and they're not all the hours they have to work on this, they're not getting paid extra for it. So.
But dude, they get him a good deal. They can quit the PD's office tomorrow and open up a private practice.
Exactly. And one of them, Rosie already has a private practice, and he's one of the better attorneys around the Cass, Miami County area. I mean, everybody knows who that guy is. He's pretty well known. So,
ISP stated that after the WRS, they were getting frustrated with the direction of the case. That's when they decided to go over old tapes. Okay. I can't believe how many Facebook groups exist that buy, sell, and trade this material. And Facebook is allowing it to happen. I'm constantly getting catfished in my messenger. As soon as I look and see who it is, I'm like, I don't know that person. They're trying to catfish me.
But, if somebody's buying, somebody's selling. I don't care what it is. Drugs, sex, information. If somebody's buying, somebody's selling, period. That's what makes the world go around, man.
Always.
To me, KK and RK, they don't seem to be real smart. Oh, that's obvious, blatantly obvious.
I agree, 100%.
One of my researchers, our researchers yesterday, sent me a instant messenger from somebody that worked with Richard Allen, and I was reading the message, and it said, "Man, once I heard the voice of down the hill, and I saw the guy walking on the bridge, and he said, man, that instantly took me right to Richard Allen because I used to work with him. I know his voice, the way he walks, his posture, everything." So I hit the couple of. I'm sorry.
They didn't tip that in.
I don't know, but I reached out to him last night and told him who it was and asked him if they were willing to talk or do an interview in regards to Richard Allen. Boy, within 30 seconds, instantly came back and said, no, thanks. They didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
But I got a question. Do you have researchers? I have to steal shit from other creators. I don't have any researchers.
Yeah, all you got to do is on your YouTube community page, just post something on your community page. Hey, man, I need help with researching. Can anybody lend a helping hand? Just put your email out there.
People come out of the woodwork.
Oh, they'll come out of the woodwork, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
I've been stealing from you guys. I don't have time for
that. Throw it in the Discord, man.
Yeah, do the same thing in Discord.
Yeah. Hey, Marv, I hope you're feeling better, dear. By the way,
Fort Pitbull's placing his mercy on the courts as a first-time offender usually works.
He's right. He is absolutely right.
Yep.
And then
because the judge has to take that into consideration, regardless of how big of a piece of crap he is and what he's done. The judge is supposed to act unbiased and without emotion and strictly on the law. And the law says that it's a mitigating factor if you have no criminal history. So That's one thing working for him.
For both of them, actually,
But
Kegan and Richard.
But this is how
Both
stupid
of them,
Kegan
yeah.
is too. Everybody knows about the whole story about Tony banging his stepson's head off of the toilet and beating his wife. No, Keegan's like, oh no, he's a great dad. We had a great time. If he kept his mouth shut, he could have used that, saying that he was abused as a kid.
Yeah.
But no, he's an idiot.
No, he's a great
And
dad, man. He's just he might be the Delphi killer,
Yeah.
Andy Pam says, I think KK is just another tentacle. Let's see.
Ruckus, do you think that
France.
that those two are connected, Richard Allen and Kline?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I don't think they're connected by name. They're connected by social
Media.
accounts. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
They know each other's screen name, but they didn't know each other's real name. That's what the Wabash, to me, the Wabash River was to dig up that digital data so that they can tie that to find out who Richard Allen was. Kegan told him what the account was that he knew, but that's how they got it.
Anthony Francis, do you
It
think
seems like
politicians are involved with the cover-up?
Not in this
Nope.
case, I wouldn't say. Maybe Flora.
Nope.
Flora, now that's a different story.
Yeah, Flora. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Flora. I mean, Flora is a whole nother. I mean, you can see the corruption in that one. I mean, it's playing out in the day.
Coach Kev says KK gets their product. After that, distributes, same as drugs. And he's also basically using it for himself also.
Yeah, he's a pervert. But Kev's right. If he's got a Dropbox set up and he's disseminating it, now he could be doing that just to get friends too. I know that sounds messed up, but to him, he gets in that pervert community, and you want to be accepted. Hey guys, I got these girls I got pictures of. Trying to be accepted.
Yeah.
But I think he was getting money for it. There's no doubt. And does anybody believe that he found a phone in a taxi in Vegas?
No, no.
Yeah, because I got a bridge I want to sell you if anybody believes that shit.
Yeah.
Danger Dave, the person who claimed to have met KK was talking to KK and not Anthony Shots.
Well, I don't know, man. He had said he was Anthony Shots, so. I mean, I think he's one of the creators. He's the creator of it, at least.
That's what ties him to Delphi.
Is Anthony Shots. That's what ties him to Delphi, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Law enforcement knows all involved via tracing their online accounts, etc. Charge them all. Oh, I anticipate there's going to be a lot more arrests when it comes to Delphi. To me,
well, there's been a lot more. There was one significant arrest that people talked about it real quick, and then it's gone now. I mean, I think maybe people brought it up over the last year, but there was an individual, I think, by the name of Vermillion is the last name. I think maybe the first name was Zachary, that was arrested shortly after the murders in Delphi over in, I think, Kokomo on child porn charges, a lot of charges. And he had a Dropbox, and he was communicating with other people, and they were sharing it in that Dropbox. There is a news article online somewhere. I think the last name is Vermillion. If anybody can look that up or find that, it shows that right after that crime happened and they started questioning these people like Kline and all them, they were starting to make arrests then, but they weren't coming out publicly and saying, okay, this is connected because of the Delphi case. I think they were trying to keep that a secret all this time.
Right. I want to thank Heather Brown for the super sticker, and Purdue RN gave us a super chat for $20. Much appreciated, ladies. Thank you. Anthony France. I've heard the same political figures are involved with CSAM and why other girls were targeted. So we just don't have any proof of any political figures. I mean, we've heard about Judge Fouts and his little thing that he was doing.
Up with the escort.
Yeah. Things when she was like 12, 13, 14 years old and groomed her until she was of age and they started dating her and stuff. We've heard all about that, but we just don't have any other information leading to any politicians in that sort when it comes to CSAM.
And you have to be careful with what you hear. It's just like I gave my opinion tonight. That doesn't mean that it's true. You have to be careful. Vet everything that you hear. Check it out. If you think it makes sense, check it out and make your own decision.
So that's basically why you haven't really heard much of Judge Faust's names, because nobody can find anything on him unless there's something behind the scenes that we don't know about that they're going to bring up later on. So we just have to leave that like a dead horse at this time. So
Now, somebody asked
Yeah.
about, can you get information off of a burner phone? Yes, you can.
mhm.
There was a company that did the FBI's extractions for a while, and this guy said, after 5 years of all these thousands and thousands of extractions, there was only one that they couldn't get it from, and that was from a plane crash where the phone was actually in the jet fuel burning, so they couldn't extract out of that. But they've taken them that's been in water for 10 years. It's amazing what they can pull that data out of. It's not moving parts,
Well, you
so
got
it's
to
easy.
also understand is a lot of cell phones and computers, a lot of their parts are made with gold.
Hmm. And a lot of shit now goes to the cloud. I mean, good luck
Hmm.
hiding anything, you know? Just you can't
Yeah,
hide
you can't
anything.
hide
It's
it.
crazy.
You can't hide it. Even the Snapchat thing. People were talking about. At the beginning of this, I did a podcast with a couple of people, and one of the things that we mentioned was I was not familiar with Snapchat at all, and they're like, "Well, it doesn't store your messages, so any message you send has disappeared and it's gone forever." Well, it turns out it's not gone forever. They can still go get those messages and find all that stuff that's been deleted and disappeared. So people
Yes.
think that you can get away with it, but you can't. You know.
So if you think that VPN is hiding your porn
No,
searches, you're
oh, it's
wrong.
not. You're wrong. You're right. You're wrong.
Exactly.
Just relax and
Incognito
enjoy
mode is
it.
still phrased.
They're gonna find it. You bet your ass they'll find it. You're welcome, Miss Thing. I saw your question, so I answered it.
I was
Or
five
know
people
everything.
away from Frank Meister on the steps waiting to go into the courthouse. Yeah, that's how close me and Randy and Rick Shea from Delphi After Dark. We were 20 people away from the door to get in
And you got there at what time?
at 7:30 in the morning, and they didn't actually open the doors until about 8:45. They were running late. They were letting all the
Wow.
families in first and everything before they let anybody else in. So,
Wow. I
in
can't
my
wait till these
opinion,
court hearings coming up.
oh, I know. In my opinion, KK might have overheard something in jail and passed it along to Ellie, and it turned out to be Zippo. I would have to disagree, Danger Dave. Sorry, guy.
Now, why would Kegan hear something in jail when he's the prime focus there? You know what I mean? He's the one in jail.
Right.
So I don't think that he would go there and find someone else that knows more than him about it. That's my opinion on that.
All
Now,
right. Good night, Marv. Hope you feel better. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
feel better, Marv.
Yeah, for real.
Now, I was talking to Noe a few times, the jailmate that I
Hmm.
spoke to, and we discussed a hell of a lot more than him and I talked about on that live. I wanted to be kind of, just get him through his first one so he'd be comfortable. I'm going to talk with him on the phone either tomorrow or the next day and set something up for another live. But he had some interesting conversations with Keegan that'll shed a lot of light if you believe it, which I do. This guy seems to be upfront and sincere. He didn't get a deal. He didn't go to law enforcement and say, "Hey, I'll tell you what I know if you give me a deal." No, he waited till he got out, and he's done to go to law enforcement. So I give him kudos for that. He's a stand-up guy.
Marv's dropping your link,
Yeah.
Ruckus.
Oh, thank you, Marv.
Really, Randy, that's funny. You guys were tearing it up that day. Yes, we were. And that's the day I lost a year's worth of research on the Delphi case. Left my file on top of the truck and drove off, and there it went flying all over the town of Delphi.
Oh, no shit. Was that the
Yeah,
court date?
yeah, the PCA hearing.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. And I get home, and everybody's laughing at me. The next thing you know, I see pictures of people taking pictures of my paperwork and posting it on YouTube, Facebook, and everything. I said,
Sure.
oh, no.
Hey, Randy, you better be ready this next bond hearing because Frank's legit now. He's got credentials. He'll just walk by you, flash it in your face, and go in the door. Leave you sitting on the steps.
See you
Yeah.
later, guys. Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know, yes, I applied for my media credentials this past Monday, and I got an answer Wednesday, and they approved me for it. So now I just got to pay for it, and they'll get my press pass, my parking pass, everything.
Woot woot.
I just did the same thing today, man. Actually,
I got
earlier when we were
a
talking.
I got a badge.
Yeah, there you go.
It works just as good. I go in the back door though.
Deb's True Crime Notebook. Hi, Deb. Nice to see you. That Kegan's case is so high profile because of his possible connection to Delphi that they will make an example of him. See,
well, that's what everybody said about Ron Logan too. I mean, they really didn't. It seemed like it, but they let him go after a year.
I can't exclude him yet. I've tried, but just the proximity of the crime, the fact that he knows Tony Kline, and that fake alibi shit, I can't shake that. Before they even found the girls,
Logan?
he's making an alibi. Yeah.
I can't exclude him either, just as a simple fact, because I don't believe FBI is going to lie on a search warrant and say his phone was pinging here and pinging there. I don't believe they would do that.
Yeah, I don't think he was on the bridge. I don't think he's bridge guy or any of that, but I just can't say he's not involved to some extent anyway.
Or he had knowledge of it of some sort.
Yeah.
I'm totally opposite from your guys' opinion. And that's just based on, being there at the beginning and seeing all that happen, and then, going to his court hearings, and then going and meeting him and going down on his property. I don't see him being in that. Now, I didn't know until you just said that now about the connection with Tony Kline. How has that been confirmed and connected?
They're family friends, old family friends. I'm not saying they're drinking buddies and they hang out,
Right.
but Tony's been to his house, he's been to his property.
Fishing and hunting and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
They know each other. Their families go back away, so they know each other. They're friendly.
Wow, it's such a weird thing, man. All these people are connected in such a weird way.
Yeah. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Freckle Joy. I mean, he's looking at it over 100 years with all the charges. There's no way they're only going to let him sit in jail for 3 years and give him time served. I can't see that. I just can't see that.
I think people will have a fit if that happens.
Don't be surprised. I've seen it. Don't be surprised. It's nuts, and it'll piss you off to no end. But I've seen it.
It will. I think it's going to piss a lot of people off, man.
Yeah.
Good point, Ivy Rose. We were just talking about a case in Boone County here in Indiana where a music teacher was arrested for child exploitation, and he got a slap on the wrist because it was his first offense of any kind of charge, and they gave him probation. And he's on the sex offenders list. That's all he got.
That's a good topic to cover, actually. I think I'm going to do that on my channel, is cover sex offender, higher profile sex offenders that are out there that you see on these videos and stuff that really have gotten no punishment whatsoever, whether it's a teacher having sex with a student or somebody else, you know what I mean? It's just, and just kind of take a look at some of the cases and just be like, look what these guys got, and then go show some minor cases, and show how they may have gotten more time than these people that are doing stuff like that.
And see, Indy Pam brings it up again. There was money that was mentioned in KK's transcripts. Somebody was paying somebody for photos of some sort.
I don't remember that off the top of my head. I haven't read it in a while, though.
Hell, 197 pages. It'll take you all day to read all that.
Well, no, it's a law enforcement thing. It's like space triple.
Yeah. Yeah. KK's Dropbox supposedly led to the biggest CSAM investigation in Indiana. They stated in an interview they found many pedophiles in the ring throughout the Dropbox, which I would assume
they did say that.
I would have to agree with that.
And they worked them all. I'm here to tell you, they try and get them all to flip. None of these people want their families to know what they're doing. So it's easy for law enforcement, FBI, to go to those people, call them out, show them what they have, and say, do you want your wife and family to know about this? No. Well, then you need to tell me who else is involved with this. And they flip toot sweet. It just takes time.
Real quick, because they want to keep it from their spouse, usually, and their family. They don't want them to know.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
CJK.
I've even seen it. There's a guy that was interviewed. I think he was in the military of some sort, and he had killed some people. Well, he didn't want his wife to know that he had done this. He was raping and killing like women. Well, they eventually found out of him, and I think he was a Navy guy or whatever. Well, they brought him in and was questioning him, and that's the only thing he said the whole interview was like, okay, my wife's like, you're not going to tell my wife. And they're like, look, man, we're not going to tell your wife, okay? Like, we're not going to tell her, we're just, that's on you. But that's the only thing he was worried about. He wasn't worried about it. He just got caught for killing people. He just didn't want her to know. You know, it's just odd that that's more of a focus than actually getting caught.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, Anthony. A teacher out of Frankfort, Indiana, in Suncrest Elementary was arrested for child porn yesterday.
Yep.
But I think we've covered a lot today, guys. Got a lot of questions answered. We're at an hour and a half, and we're about to wind down. Any further comments or questions or concerns from anybody in the chat? Any last comments or anything from Anthony or Ruckus?
Go ahead, Ruckus.
Snail had a question I just want to address real quick. You say there's no connection with the Klines and Ron Logan. You may be absolutely right, brother. I've never seen them together. I don't have anything showing they sat next to anybody at a wedding or anything like that. But this is coming straight, I believe, out of Kegan Kline's mouth. That he told somebody in the jail that they're just talking to me because they want to find out about Ron Logan because he's my dad's friend, family friend. That's what Kegan was telling everybody at first, why he was getting pulled out and spoken to when he initially went in. So that's what I'm basing it off of. This guy has no reason to lie to me, but it could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again, but I'm going with that, Snail.
And we're not afraid to admit when we're wrong.
No, not at all. I've been married 36 years. That's one of my best traits.
It's been wrong. There you go.
Any last word, Anthony?
Yeah. So, I just want people to really consider the totality of the evidence that's presented. We're missing pieces, and people need to take that into account when we go through all this stuff. There is missing pieces in the whole story. There's missing pieces in the Richard Allen thing. There's missing pieces in the Tony Kline thing. There's missing pieces in the Kegan Kline thing. Mm-hmm. Whether they're connected or not, to me, it certainly seems like it probably is. Otherwise, why would they bring out the Delphi tip line and say, we want this information, and then change the whole tip line on Delphi at that time, the whole phone number? It changed to something completely different because they wanted calls from that phone that are addressed to that phone number now. That's what they really wanted to focus on. And that's ultimately, I think, led them to where we are right now.
If you call the Abbey and tip line right now, it'll take you to Carroll County Sheriff, and it's a recording, and then they transfer your call to the FBI.
They transfer your call to the FBI.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, why are they still transferring these calls to the FBI? For what reason? I don't understand. So,
I dropped you a video link in the private chat. So that was the video it's a short little clip. It's probably maybe a couple minutes long, like 3 minutes long at the most. Now that is the video I was referring to earlier when I was talking about when the Kegan Kline story broke, when they didn't arrest him for 3 years. It's got the statements from law enforcement in there on what they wrote to everybody and said. So if anybody's interested in that video, you can air it on here. You can air it whatever. I had just rendered it and cut out all the extra stuff, so it's just the video real quick.
Okay,
that's something I think is beneficial for people to see.
Yeah, just send it to our email.
Private chat.
Yeah, send it to our email. Anything else, guys?
Nope, I'm good here.
After the show, I'll be selling some 8x10 scratch and sniff photos of myself if anybody's interested in that.
Okay, on your guys' way out of the show tonight, we're about to end. Would you please go and hit that thumbs up for us? Would be greatly appreciated. I want to thank Anthony Greeno, Wild Ass Ruckus, for coming up and hanging with me tonight and discussing these two topics that we talked about tonight. And you know what time it is. Anthony, you want to lead us out? Then I'll lead us out.
Sure. Well, on that note, everybody, I'm Anthony Greeno from True Crime News or True Crime Investigates. Until next time, guys, you keep it Southern style.
Peace out. One love, Marmeisters. See y'all next time. Good night.